to do some operations in this little app I created, which will have a link at the bottom of the videos on how to kind of manipulate your data via speech with a backend in R. So if you see up here, there's a red dot, which shows that Google Chrome is listening to my speech. So anything I say will be kind of parsed into the command line. Excuse me. So right now we're going to try to change the column ordering. So usually it's good to pause in between kind of saying words and phrases like I am now to actually setting commands. Sort MPG. So we see that MPG is actually ordered, and we have a little bit of command history there. I had already done some sorting before this, so I can see the history and also the classes of the data. Sort MPG weight. So we see now that it's also ordered by weight. Right? Again, some of this command history does take a little bit of time to might be a little bit buggy there. So let's sort weight MPG. Sort weight MPG. Sort transmission MPG. Sort MPG transmission descending. So we see here that, so let's sort transmission descending MPG. Sort transmission descending MPG. So we see we can do descending, but it'll only apply to the variable afterwards. It was kind of spoken first, so we can do descending, but you have to say it after every single variable, and there's the command that was actually executed. Let's say we wanted to change that. Undo. So we can change what we've actually done. That was something we had done previously, but we can do that as many times as commands as we want. So for example, undo. So again, this takes one of the commands away that we had done, and if we want to start again, we can just say reset. And we're back at square one. The command history is gone. All the variables are back to normal. We can also change some of the columns like gear. Change gear to factor. Change gear to factor. Change gear to factor. So sometimes slowing down and actually pausing between things can change that around, or it can make the Chrome actually pick up what you're saying. So one of the problems here is the word to, which can be interpreted as TWO or TO, which is a little bit ambiguous because this will do parsing on the columns as well. So for example, change column to character. Right, so we said column 2, it didn't see number 2, so that's actually a problem. So replace column 3 to character. Replace column 3 to character. See, now it's actually a different problem. So sometimes it's picked up as a 2, sometimes it's picked up as a TO, which is a little bit of a problem. But you see here now that MPG and cylinders is a character. Car was always a character. But now we can turn replace MPG to numeric. And we see now at the bottom, this is back to a numeric. Now this isn't very interesting, but for what it is on its own, but it's interesting because now you can do some plots. So plot MPG cylinder box plot. So in here, we actually did get an error here. So because cylinder is not actually matched exactly, that's kind of a problem. But let's say ggplot cylinders MPG box plot. Plot cylinders MPG box plot. So we do see we have MPG cylinders on here with a little output here. So plot MPG. Plot horsepower. So we see that it does try to do some guessing, kind of like qplot does, but it does use the ggplot syntax. There are some mild syntax errors here. You will note, though, that this doesn't come up in the command history because this doesn't manipulate the data in any way. So you can also do facets. So plot MPG faceted by transmission. So we see here we have different facets, using facet wrap for the different types. If we say two variables, again, it does a scatter plot. Plot MPG displacement colored by gear. So again, I don't know much about this API that's using Anyang, which is from Yihuiji's voice demo. But sometimes it is recording, sometimes it's not. I'm not very good at seeing when it's still picking up on a previous command. So I'm going to pause and then try that again. Plot MPG horsepower faceted by gear. So we see we have a scatter plot here. I don't know if we've implemented smoothing, but we can try that. Plot MPG horsepower faceted by gear, points smooth. So we do have the ability to add other geoms in there if we add multiple geoms. So it does some interesting kind of matching there. But that is most of the things that are implemented in here. We could also run drop horsepower or drop column horsepower. Yeah, so that'll actually drop that thing. And again, if you want to get back to that, we can just say undo. Undo. As you see, you might be repeating yourself a few times with this API currently, but hopefully other voice recognition software would be a little bit better and more appropriate. But right now it fits in your browser and it kind of works with Shiny, so that's nice. So lastly, I'll just show you a few ways to summarize the data. Group by cylinders. So down here we see it's grouped. The command was grouped by cylinders, and the grouping variable is now cylinders. Again, this is the area for the plotting. But now if I say count engine, it runs a summary command to count those up to give you the frequency table. And many times after that, you want to run undo. So let's say since the data is still grouped by cylinder, we want to do something else. So let's run filter out rows where MPG is less than 20. So filter out will actually drop where MPG is less than 20. Undo. So let's filter out rows where MPG is less than 20 or cylinders equals 4. Let's see if it picks up on that. Filter out rows where MPG is less than 20 or cylinders equals 4. So these are the only rows left of that data. We could still run count gear. Count gear. Right, which gives us again the frequency table, but undo. 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 So we've reset that twice. So we've still have the data grouped, but we didn't do any tabulations. But that is some of the operations that I've implemented in this using the TalkR package. So there'll be a link to that package also in the contents. All right, great.